Something that you might find interesting is that Blender is expanding its capabilities with the introduction of online asset libraries. So a couple of days ago, Blender developers released a certain report that will probably pique the interest of all the community. The report covered the discussions and topics brought up during the July's Online Asset Libraries workshop. And these discussions were more like baby steps to scope the project following the new brush asset system that Blender introduced and made available in the alpha version of Blender 4.3. They added points like the integration of these libraries, their content and their organization, along with the next steps they will be taking during this project. The online asset libraries came in following the implementation of the extensions framework, and just like EVNext was a major improvement for Blender users, this new integration brings a fresh and out-of-the-box experience and workflow in its own way. To integrate this new asset library system with the internet, a new type of asset library will be added called remote asset libraries, coming with pre-configured one called Online Essentials, and will basically contain CC0 assets, meaning free to use and modify assets, including crucial resources like base mesh, materials, and even brushes, which will probably enhance the user experience of the software in general, hopefully. The asset libraries can now more or less be considered as extensions. Therefore, you may access some of them from Blender Extensions platform, such as new specialized libraries covering content from Blender's open movies. However, even if considered as extensions and sharing the same internet policy, the fact remains that extensions and asset libraries will still continue independently, one way or another. I mean, we should expect the operation of an asset library tab to be added in the 4.3 version of Blender, where you can have plenty of remote asset libraries that you will probably be able to add later after the official release of 4.3. Now let's move to the next point in the discussion during this workshop, where they discuss the possibilities of adding some sorts of variations and representations of these assets. In other words, it is implied to have assets in different states, with different levels of detail regarding the geometry and textures, implying having multiple versions of each asset with different characteristics and levels of detail. This addition can benefit a lot of artists, especially game developers who need multiple versions of assets for their characters, objects, and environments. In addition to high quality textures and meshes aren't always necessary to pick when you only need low ones. However, adding this feature might be challenging. The actual asset system is limited to one version per asset, and having multiple versions will lead to revisiting the whole system along with the definition of what an asset is. The actual definition is that an asset is a data block with meaning, and meaning refers to metadata. An asset with one variant and representation is considered as one data block. For multiple versions and representations to be considered one asset means linking all the data blocks to the same ID metadata. And with the addition of online asset libraries and the multiple variations of an asset, new features for organizations seem necessary. The developers, being aware of that, are thinking of adding features like tagging, advanced search, marking favorites, and smart catalogs to procure a more efficient way to help you as an artist find and use your assets. And users should be able to easily modify asset catalogs, create or delete tags for any asset, regardless of whether it is inbuilt in Blender, I mean it is a built-in Blender asset, an external asset, or a custom asset within the current Blender file. In addition, the asset browser should support advanced search functionalities, including Boolean operations, tag-based filtering, and wildcard searches. Search results can also be saved as custom collections for quick access within the asset shelf and asset browser, and you as a user should be able to designate any asset as a favorite. These favorite assets should be conveniently grouped in a dedicated favorites catalog, which are always visible in the asset shelf. For the future of the software, the Blender Foundation is still moving forward to improve it, and it seems to be aiming to refine the design while reducing the technical requirements needed to be using it. And to keep track of their progress and include the community more and more in the development of the software, they shared the link to the issue tracker where the proposed deliverables are outlined. While I'm not sure about the extent of these remote asset libraries and who can add them, I think it does open the room to collaborative features. So imagine working with a team using one asset library designed for a unique project, and your team can work on it. This can be great. Before I end this video, and when we are talking about Blender 4.3, I would like to pinpoint the new brush asset system that came preceding the online asset library. It led to revisiting the sculpt and painting interface where the toolbars have been reduced. Knowing about this is not really great, but after I tried the alpha version, it looked really cool and better to use and explore within the asset shelf that gives a better visualization of what the tools can do. And while still in development, some Blender 4.3 release notes are already available on their website, and some of the features seem really interesting to read about or try with the alpha version. And there you have it, guys. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to this channel to receive more interesting news like this. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.